in the Kashmir Valley. Security has been tightened, specifically in areas where it is still prone to rumour-mongering and could become a law and order situation. But let's talk about for the changes that we have seen in Jammu and Kashmir after Article 370 abrogation. Terrorism, stone pelting, the most visible change that we have seen, that has reduced significantly. Jammu and Kashmir has experienced many firsts, which was once unthinkable in the past 3 decades. Cinemas have returned. Remember, what is normal for most of us across India was actually can only be imagined for Kashmir Valley. Once was thriving in the Kashmir Valley, but cinemas have returned not just in Srinagar, but in Baramulla and Handwara too. Tourism, government recruitment are some of the improvements that have been seen. But this is ground reality. This is what the changes have been on the ground. But this is not what the court will specifically look at. The court will look at the validity of can Article 370 be abrogated and what can be the repercussions of this with regard to other states and can they be changed into union territories. Listen in to the reactions that have come in from the netas representing the Bharatiya Janata Party and the netas representing the PDP, National Conference and the Congress Party.
हमें पूरी उम्मीद है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट जिस तरीके से 5 अगस्त 2019 को जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों को जेल में तब्दील करके भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने, ठीक है उनके पास ताकत ही, अपनी ताकत का मिस यूज करके हमसे वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल गारंटी छीनी है, तो हमें उम्मीद है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट हमारी बात जरूर सुनेगा और हमें इंसाफ जो है सुप्रीम कोर्ट से मिलेगा।
जो भी निर्णय सुप्रीम कोर्ट का होगा वो सर आंखों पर होगा। जम्मू कश्मीर के अंदर 70 साल गुजर, बकरवाल, पहाड़ी कबीला, ओबीसी कम्युनिटी के लोग, विस्थापित लोग, वेस्ट पाकिस्तानी विस्थापित, दलित समाज के लोग, समाज के लगभग हर सेक्शन के साथ बहुत बड़ा अन्याय हुआ और अब वो अन्याय समाप्त हुआ है।
बड़े तरीके के साथ लोकसभा और राज्यसभा में बहुमत से इस प्रस्ताव को पास किया गया और वहां से जो चीजें बनती हैं वही आगे जाकर के कानून बनते हैं और माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट जो भी करेगा कानून के दायरे में करेगा। वेस्ट पाकिस्तान रिफ्यूजीज, गोरखाज और बहुत से ऐसे समाज हैं जिनको 70 साल वोट डालने का अधिकार नहीं मिला। ये कैसा न्याय है? तो मुझे लगता है कि सभी पक्ष और विपक्ष की दलीलों को सुनते हुए हमें आशा ही नहीं पूर्ण विश्वास है कि धारा 370 को हटाए जाने के हक में माननीय न्यायालय का फैसला होगा।
दफा 370 के बाद में उसके साथ रियासत का दर्जा छीना गया और हिंदुस्तान में पहली रियासत के कि उस रियासत को छीन के यूटी में तब्दील कर दिया गया और यूटी में तब्दील करने के बाद जहां पे गवर्नर जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों की मुश्किलों का समाधान कर सकते थे वहां पे एलजी साहब की पोस्ट यहाँ पे उन पे नियुक्त यहाँ पे किया गया। तो हमें एक साइड से लगता था कि ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट जरूर संज्ञान लेगी कि हमें डिग्रेड किया गया। कहीं पे भी हिंदुस्तान में यूटी से रियासतें बनती हैं और रियासत से जम्मू कश्मीर को यूटी में तब्दील करना, और आज हम लोग 9 साल से महरूम है, चुनाव से महरूम है।
So the petitioners opposing the abrogation have said this is unconstitutional. It cannot have been done by the government at the centre, but the government also has given its reasoning of how they have decided to get this special status scrapped. Here's Nalini Sharma, a legal editor, explaining, putting it in perspective from the legal angle on what precisely have been some of those decisions and steps taken by the government. Nalini, over to you.
Thank you, Pooja. So the question over here today and before the Supreme Court is how Centre really nullified Article 370 and why is it that the petitioners are calling it constitutional fraud. So let's go straight to it. First, the Centre used the presidential order that was issued on the 5th of August 2019 to dilute Article 370. But through this dilution and through the presidential order that was issued, what the Centre did was give the power of the Constituent Assembly, in fact, to the State Legislative Assembly. And the Parliament power to amend the J&K laws were in fact vested with the State Assembly instead of the Constituent Assembly, as Article 370 specifically asks for the law to be implemented in. Along with that, what the Centre also stated is that this recommendation that needs to ideally be given by the Constituent Assembly can in fact be given by the Legislative Assembly instead. But the reason why it gets even more complex is because on the 5th of August 2019, when this presidential order was issued, the state of J&K was in fact under president's rule because the then Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti had resigned after the government had fallen. So the state government could give no consent on how the articles of the provisions, the articles of the constitution rather, need to be amended to make them applicable to J&K. So in absence of a functioning state government, the centre in fact used the governor's consent to get the approval to axe Article 370 in the first place. So what they did was centre got a centre's representative's approval and went ahead to issue the presidential order. That's precisely the reason why the petitioners are calling it constitutional fraud, because even though the centre did not typically amend Article 370, but by amending another article of the Constitution, which was Article 367, they have changed the way that Article 370 in fact has been interpreted.